as AI is now doing all the research and helping us with the dossiers, where do you think the next generation of PR professionals should spend their energy in learning the skills that AI cannot automate?
Okay, it's a very important phase. It's still in the transition. Now we know that there is this AI which we're still comprehending and how much it can help us. Yesterday it was a Ghibli release, and you know how that changed the landscape overnight.
So you are saying that today's Gen Z, which is more concerned about a 4-day work week, you're making that dream come true with this tool?
We are going towards 2-day work weeks with AI.
AI, from graphic designing to content writing. Let's find out how is PR keeping up with this trend. Please welcome Aakriti Bhargava, co-founder of Wizikey and the mother of Imara, PR's AI avatar, today on our podcast. Welcome, Aakriti. We're so excited to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me here. And I'm so thankful for you to call me the mother of Imara. I always wanted an AI child.
Imagine the world with AI child. Talking about Imara, how is it kind of changing the landscape for agencies and brands delving into PR?
So that's a fantastic question. Thank you for asking me that. It's very important to understand that PR serves the CXOs of any company. And imagine the time crunch. कितना टाइम होता है आपकी CEO के पास एक रिपोर्ट देखने का, right? Now think about it. He wants to consume something in 2 minutes. Right. What do you send him? You send him a 30-minute visual dossier which he has to go through in depth. Or it could be a 40-pager report. Does he really want to go through it? That's where we said that an intervention is required which can give you a 2-minute summary and can be driven by insights which come naturally from AI. AI is great at big data, and we thrive on big data because PR is so much about news. A typical brand can make anywhere between 1,000 news in a year to it could go into millions. Wow. And that's where AI is important. And a 2-minute summary of, let's say, 5,000 news is possible via AI.
Wow.
That's why Imara is our chief reports officer. And she has helped many brands bring out 2-minute summaries in video, audio, backed by a lot of algorithms that come only with GenAI, and present that to the top CXOs in name any large company. We work with among top 3, top 5 companies in India today, and they prefer video summaries and AI summaries over 5,000 page dossiers.
Wow, eases the work for both agencies and the brand,
Absolutely.
Saving time for more critical work. And as AI is now doing all the research and helping us with the dossiers, where do you think the next generation of PR professionals should spend their energy in learning the skills that AI cannot automate?
Okay, it's a very important phase. It's still in the transition where we know that there is this AI which we're still comprehending and how much it can help us. Yesterday it was a Ghibli release, and you know how that changed the landscape overnight. We today were talking in the morning and we said, we don't know how much. Till yesterday we were talking content writers, today we are talking graphic designers, right? So all of us have to adapt to what's coming with AI, and this is also changing very fast. I'm not sure that the next 10 years is going to be static. It's going to be dynamic. Now, the biggest thing that comes with so much change is to adapt.
The mindset
right?
shift, as you were saying.
And adapting to what's coming new every day. So, unlearning becomes one of the biggest skills that the Gen Z that enters today will need to have. I think the second skill that all of us need to, really inculcate is figuring out if we can do prompt engineering at our own mindset level, right? The better the prompts, the better you can think.
The key to mastering AI.
Yeah, I think that is where, if you read so many experts on LinkedIn today, you would say that they're all thinking, they're all saying, okay, I thought about this. And from Ghibli style, I also made the Marvel style and the oil painting style. And I read so many posts yesterday, and these were CMOs. These are not young folks or Gen Z or, who've just entered the profession. So everybody is adapting to change, and we'll all have to do that.
Talking about change, PR itself as a field is growing, from now being a 2,500 crore industry to eventually going to 5,000 crore. It's doubling in the next, 4-5 years. With that kind of growth, how do you see PR evolving? And with that evolvement, how do you see the brands and, the CMOs or marketers have to evolve?
Let's do a little bit of role reversal here. I'm going to ask you the same question. Okay. And you tell me, what are the two things that you have seen as a shift in the industry? Why do you think it's growing? And what is the shift that you have seen?
So it's the brands earlier used to shy away or look at PR as a luxury element. But nowadays, with so much content being created on all the social media platforms and other digital platforms, PR has emerged as something which provides a lot of credibility to that noise and content. And with this, having said this, PR is now seen as something that is essential to have as a brand at a certain level, growing at a certain pace and contributing back to the industry.
Yeah, fantastic insight there. And you yourself have answered the question that many more brands are now eased on doing PRs. People up till let's say 2 years, 3 years back, they would say, oh, PR is press release. I used to be flummoxed at this. They did not even know the full form of PR. And it's some relations business. And we don't know how to do it. I think the biggest mindset barrier was we don't know what PR is. And that came from two things. We as Indians don't know storytelling as much as our counterparts globally know. But the pride in building in India, making in India, and shipping from India has changed. मैं इंडियन एंटरप्रेन्योर होकर ना आज बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग फील करती हूँ एंड दैट इज अ रियलिटी दैट आई एम एम्ब्रेसिंग okay so I need to, if I need my brand to grow, I will definitely want to make sure that I do my storytelling. It helps my brand grow, and that is a business need. So like you said, from luxury to need, that movement has happened. And secondly, the growth in PR, the 4,500 CR, I'm not saying it's going to be 4,500 CR. I think very soon we should be looking at 3x, 5x, and I'm waiting for the day when we say it's a 45,000 crore business in India or industry in India. And one thing that is going to be very interesting is that every company, small, big, can have their own PR team sitting inside, because content is an enabler now with AI coming in place. And a typical Indian entrepreneur may not be comfortable with storytelling, may not be comfortable with English as a language, may be very invested in how the business grows, and that too on balance sheets and profit and loss statements. Today, because they're moving to building in India and selling their products globally, they're embracing storytelling. And I think that is the shift that we should see.
Very interesting. So while building the platform Wizikey, we would love to hear behind the scenes of how it was developed and what prompted this change in the PR field.
Okay, so let's start with something that will really make you think. Okay, Wizikey was first called PR Donkey.
Interesting name. Now that's a story our listeners would love to hear.
Okay, so look, when we as youngsters get into the profession of PR, and I have almost been in this industry for 21 years and have loved it. Okay, storytelling is a fantastic thing to do. It makes you build the top line. PR is the only thing that works on top line to across the funnel, from brand awareness to bottom line, right? Bottom of the funnel. So when I entered the industry, I felt in a difficult place, because the first thing I needed to do was do fax. And it's like, okay, is this the skill that I really want to get? And look, there are no fax machines anymore. So I really did not need to learn that. But it made me think, I don't want to be in an industry where my talent is equated to learning simple things. I wanted to know the numbers and how it made the business shift. How does PR really impact business? And that led me to finding ways of spending my time on more quality stuff. For example, data in PR. And since, like I said earlier, it is an expanse of data. We're sitting on news. Have you heard of Michael Porter's Signals? And he wrote about signals. Yes. Okay, if you think McKinsey folks use signaling as a technique to devise the strategy of a company. Okay. Now, what does that really mean? They actually sit down and look at news of all the competitors and figure out whether in an industry there is a price war or a product war. Okay. And that is all data sitting in news. We have that
data is the power.
Yeah, data is the power and news is the power. I mean, and we are sitting and we're dealing with news in PR, right? So that's where I got a lot of, I felt that we need to serve the industry better. If we are sitting on so much data, we should be able to build strategy on it and not waste our time on figuring out which journalist is still writing in Times of India. Or uspe phone call, whether you've received a press release you would agree with it. That it is not something that we want our industry to do or the people who enter the industry to do, right? And this shift has already happened in sales, HR, everybody uses CRM. But what do? We use our own email inboxes. There are ways of making the shift happen. And I thought I want that to happen in the industry. So why not lead the shift?
Super. More power to you while you lead this shift. We'd love to hear some successful campaigns that must have been done through the tool and in your tenure.
Okay. So I'm very thankful to our users. It's only been 3.5 years since we launched the product. And in 2022, February is when we actually started selling the product heavily. Of course, a product goes through its journey. But our users were very invested in making sure that PR Tech actually blooms and gives the right kind of return that they would actually want from their profession. So, giving you some fantastic use cases. First one was for a large hospitality group, and hospitality deals with this very difficult problem of negative news. And the more time you take in finding out the problem, the bigger the crisis is.
It's already happened,
so time is directly proportional to the largeness of the crisis. So we ensured that we solved this for them. Okay. Now you'd ask how. Okay. So every time their news hits, a negative news hits Google or any other publication, okay, we ensure that they have it on their WhatsApp in 5 minutes.
Interesting. So it's an automated alert that goes.
Automated alert. Okay. How does it help them? You know exactly in 5 minutes that this is going wrong, and you can alert everybody. You can ensure that your partners are well understanding the problem. Your CXOs are understanding the problem, that a crisis is going to hit and you're well prepared. Until a Twitter or another news outlet carries it.
In a world where billions of content is being generated every second, the kind of tool that you're building where in 5 minutes you get to know if a crisis has occurred, this is going to change the entire landscape because of the impact it can have on saving billions of dollars for a brand that would have not even gotten to know about it for 24 hours at length. So wow, kudos to what you are building. We would love to hear more on such case studies from you.
So see, like I said, news is complex, okay? And sometimes you are sitting on volumes of news, okay? And on a day, you send out a press release, but you will generate another set of 1,000 pieces. And you can, I'll give you an example. Think of any team in IPL.
Okay.
Okay. On a daily basis, a lot of journalists would write about what the team itself releases for their team, and the journalists would also capture gossip and predictions and reviews of the matches and everything, right? Now, when we have players like Rohit Sharma, Hardik Pandya part of a team, and let's say a crisis comes up, okay, you want to get all the news related to that particular crisis. That is where they gave us this problem that for this related campaign only and the press release that we've issued, I need the coverage that is associated to it.
Interesting.
Okay. Tough problem. You can't solve it with keywords, right? If you solve something like this with keywords, then you're likely to end up with almost 500 news. But the typical news set that they are looking for is out of 1,000 news pieces. They want only 100
which
that
is
were
humanly
related.
not possible to.
That's where AI steps in. Okay, AI can do match phrasing, matching to 60%, 70%, 80% to the headline. Wow. And this is not something we cracked now, because now AI has evolved even further. We did this last year in April when we released this. And it was on their behest that they said, we need to solve this problem. Our teams figured out what could be the way to solve it. They came up with matching of phrases instead of keywords, etc. And now they can find those 100 articles in less than 5 minutes.
Saving so many hours, which can be spent more on strategical response to what news has come out.
I don't care whether they spend it on strategy, or they have a coffee, or they go out, bowling in that time, or they save their Saturday or Sunday. I just care about the fact that they didn't have to spend time on collecting links.
So you are saying that today's Gen Z, which is more concerned about a 4-day work week, you're making that dream come true with this tool?
Today, the founder of Microsoft, Bill Gates, he said that we are going towards 2-day work weeks with AI.
Wow.
So, yeah, to make 2-day or 4-day or 7-day work week a reality for whatever you like to work. It's not work if you like it, right? So, to make that happen, you really need to take the mundane out. And if technology can do it, so be it.
So what's next for Wizikey? Because as AI is evolving every day, I'm sure you have certain roadmap in mind as the PR field is scaling, as the brands are scaling, and they're adopting these kind of tools in their everyday practice.
So जब पहली बार AI आया था in July of 2022, it became really popular. In the beginning of 2022, when we all realized that something called Gen AI or GPT has come into the picture, when we started exploring it and the product team started looking into it along with the engineering teams, we threw our pipeline out of the window. We said whatever we've thought of has gone away. And we will ensure that we live up to the times and our customer demands. So we brought that together. And today, you were asking about the pipeline. Today, we work with our customers very closely. Every problem, every demand that they have, we classify and we call it stories.
Interesting. So storytelling is in your soul.
Absolutely. So we call it stories, and our targets are to release, like last quarter, we released 47 stories. Okay. This quarter, we want to up the game, right? And do more of stories. And that's how we build our pipeline. This ensures 2 things. I was talking earlier, right? We need to keep up with the times. We need to learn to unlearn. We have to make sure that whatever is coming up new, we embrace it. And it keeps the challenge going. We have to find out stories. So the journalism and PR all embraced into tech, and yeah, that's making our journey very, very amazing.
Imara is so lucky to have you as a mother. Having said that, so women in tech and PR, it's a world which has always been, hidden behind the curtains. How has the journey been for you?
Women in tech in PR. Okay, it feels like an anomaly, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so yes, it is something that we have to deal with. In PR, it's not that big because it's a women-led profession. The diversity is brought in by the male gender. So women in PR is not the problem. Women in tech is definitely a battle which we'll have to take on, and have taken on in stride, and now everybody's accepted that, okay, women in PR and tech is something that we will have to embrace. The bigger problem, I'll tell you, women in PR in tech in India. भारतीय नारी होके आप टेक बनाते हो, ओके? इससे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम बताती हूँ. Women in tech in PR in India from a commerce background. आपको आता है टेक? आपने देखा है? वो क्वेश्चन भी नहीं आपको आता है टेक की नहीं. It's just a wall that is standing there. So if 3 founders are talking, then they would just be like, oh, this 4th person doesn't exist. Okay, so I think coming from that point of view, I would say yes, it was a challenge, but I think forums like SAS Bhumi, forums like TIE have changed that a lot for the Indians, and we should be very thankful to how they enable. And today, what you're doing, for example, this is fantastic. Okay, you've given me a forum to talk about it, and yes, we need to bring that. It's not a problem. It is definitely a mindset shift that first you need to say, oh, this is a problem. And then you need to say, oh, this is not a problem now. Okay, but you need to cross that barrier by talking about it, by letting people think what they think and then explaining your point of view. And I am pretty sure if I hadn't had that dard, जो मैं पहले भी बात कर रही थी कि मुझे दर्द था कि टेक क्यों नहीं है पीआर में, अगर आप अपना पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू समझा देते हो तो लोग समझ जाते हैं. We are living in the 21st century, and I think they have their stereotypes. Yeah,
passion is the only thing that wins.
But you can get through it if you know how to communicate, you know how to explain. I think people understand, and we live in India, which is like the tech pride of the world. So
it is, yeah. And India is going to lead the change in tech.
Yes,
for the globe. Having said this, PR industry has evolved in terms of the matrix that used to be considered as success. How do you see your tool also changing this perspective further? And what matrix do you think are the most important when it comes to PR?
Yes, thanks for bringing that question up, because it's very important for the PR people to embrace metrics. And I think one of the metrics that, in fact, I'm going to write about it in the next inkling that I write, is the share of voice metric. Now, a lot of people measure share of voice, but they don't know why they should measure the share of voice. Okay. Now, if you think about NPS, and I'm sure you know about NPS, right? So, the Net Promoter Score was built out by some fantastic experts, and I've read a lot about it, and BCG came together with, but what it really is saying that if people endorse you, your own customers endorse you, then your company will grow. It's a predictive score. Okay. And if the share of voice is high, then have people made the correlation yet that that is also a predictive score? If your share of voice is high in the industry, then you're practically saying that I am ahead of the lot in how people are talking about me and what people are talking about me. And most likely, I'm going to do well if you're high. If you're not, then you need to do something about it. How AI intervenes in this is very important. Earlier, share of voice was a little jarred because you had passing mentions in it, you had negative news in it, and even sentiment was not well mapped. You had to do it manually. But today with Gen AI, all of that can change, right? So you can remove all negative mentions or figure out how you want to demote your SOP by including negative mentions or excluding negative mentions. And then you can say, okay, let's do some weightage around the feature stories and industry stories. So I think share of voice will emerge as a strong metric because the more and more AI will, emerge and people will start using GPT as the default search or any of the AI engines as default search, then you will need to figure out how you're being talked about more. Okay, because GPT will pick up, or any AI engine will pick up something that is well ranked, and ranking comes from popularity of the portal as well as the number of times it has been talked about on searchable links.
Interesting. How do you think your tool will help companies in niche segment? For example, say EV sector, which is being talked about a lot, or sustainability sector that's gaining ground with the upcoming conscious consumers.
So the world is evolving fast, and so are companies and industries. When industries are evolving fast because policy changes are happening, AI is happening, and so much more is happening, right? You need to keep up with how the industry is doing every day because you need to make sure that you see the signals before you really bring about changes in the company. And you also need to be dynamic. And in such a scenario, think about an EV industry. So much is happening that keeping up with news is not your daily read. You can't pick up the newspaper or Times of India and say, I know everything about it. Nor can you have 100 links come to your inbox through a Google News. In such a scenario, we've also designed it for some of our companies that work with us, a digest of sorts that goes to them on the nature of the industry. It could be very dynamic, so they get that weekly. It could be lesser dynamic, and it could be monthly. Some companies also prefer to have their trade body intelligence on a daily basis. So yes, keeping up with the times is definitely something that news helps you do it, and digests are important, and which Wizikey helps you do.
With AI now automating so much in PR, do you think PR professionals will be weeded out of this profession altogether?
You put me on the spot. I can't say yes, I can't say no. Okay. So, well, no profession. Do you think we still need people who need to know how to operate the fax machines? Have those people are they not in the profession today? I'm sitting right in front of you. Please don't say yes. Okay. So yeah, I mean, people will evolve. There may be lesser need of you to do what you were doing earlier, but if you upskill yourself and scale up according to the times, then you will keep up with the job. There's a lot that AI can do, and there's a lot that AI can't do. Right? So it's important for you to know what AI can't do and make sure that you skill in the right direction.
Super. So as PR teams are growing at agency side as well as client side, what kind of team sizes can use this platform? What is the scalability? Are global teams also equipped enough to use the platform?
So thanks for asking me that. My passion and my belief is that all PR teams should work with an operating software. Sales के पास है, HR के पास है, PR start करता है email से. I want to change that. So if you're in the profession, you are in corporate communications, you should know that news is a lot of intelligence. And whether you are managing, your 5 CXOs, 1 CXO, you should know how to bring that intelligence to them, because that is dynamic and helps business grow. So it's important that one, PR has tech that it is served well. And second is that you can make your life easier, less stressful, and ensure that you have information on your tips, whether it is competitor, whether it is your own brand, whether it is industry. And that is the edge that every comms, PR, and CopCom professional should carry with them.
Now that's called data has a lot of power. Which brings us to our next round of, the podcast, which is the rapid fire round, where you don't have to think, just say the next best thing that comes to your mind. The first question, if AI had a bad habit, what would it be?
It already has a bad habit. It has a compulsive disorder to answer everything.
Taking away our ability to think itself. If you could have any fictional character as your PR intern, who would it be?
Jerry.
Why?
Of Tom and Jerry.
Why?
I did not say I'll answer that.
If Wizikey had a theme song, what would it be?
Okay, so I'll answer it more straight. I think there are a lot of songs that come to my mind, and there are those nasty songs as well as the fun songs. I would say for now, the space we are in, it's called Bade Chalo, Bade Chalo. And I gana aisa Bade Chalo, Bade Chalo.
Yes. What's a totally useless skill you've mastered?
I do a lot of theories, which according to others are conspiracy theories, and I have mastered that skill.
I would love to hear those post our podcast today.
Absolutely.
What's one thing you never leave home without?
My phone.
Oh, the phone. How will we use AI without the phone? If your life was a book title, what would it be?
Kill the press release.
Which you're doing already with your tool. What's the weirdest or funniest PR request you've received? And we've all received some in our time.
Journalist request, you mean?
It could be from a brand, it could be from a PR professional, or it could be an agency.
I think everything is very serious.
What one change you would have, been requested for in your platform that's the weirdest one?
I take everything very, very honest and serious. Honestly, our customer feedback and customer demands are, we take them very seriously. So I cannot come up with a weird request. It's not weird. Everything is serious. There is a story there.
And with this seriousness, the insights that you've shared, we want to thank you today for coming to this podcast and sharing those with us. For our listeners, Do remember, data is power, but storytelling is in its soul. If you loved the conversation, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and keep coming back for more such curious insights with us.